Sweet.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sweet Taboos. This is your host, Ayan Watson.
And I'm Tiffany, your co-host.
Yes, thank you all for stopping by today. We appreciate your love and support.
Yeah.
We deeply do. And today we are finishing up the part 2 series of the effects of social media. We have a very special guest today that goes by the name of BMC, which stands for The Blind Man Can. And today we're going to delve into your point of view on the pros and cons of the effects of social media.
Hello.
Hi, Sean. Welcome in.
Hey, Sean.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We know you have a busy schedule.
Yeah.
So thank you. And it's Friday. It's Valentine's Day.
It is.
Happy Valentine's Day to
Day.
everyone out there. Hope y'all have a great love day. And we're going to jump right into it. So, Mr. BMC,
Yes.
please introduce yourself for those who are unaware.
Hello. My name is Sean. I go by the name of BMC, that stands for The Blind Man Can. And I'm going to give you the perspective from a non-sighted.
I'm so excited for that. So, first off, how do you navigate social media with blindness?
Well, so initially, it wasn't a thing that I could do until I found out about TalkBack. I have an Android phone. There's many voice-over systems and phones that allow me to participate and still function on, a smartphone just for me. Mm-hmm. So everything has to speak, and it takes a long time to learn and master it. I think it took me about 3 years to master my first phone system.
Wow.
Now, it takes me about a day or two.
Day or two. Wow. The process is completely sped up.
Yes.
Now, we do want to kind of understand what were the differences before, because you weren't always visually impaired, right?
No, ma'am.
Can you take us back on how it affected your life beforehand and then how it affects you now?
In the beginning, I will say I was really big on like Facebook. It was things like iMeme. There was so many social media outlets back then, and I would, as a young man, I would just be normally listening to music, making playlists, and stuff like that. It wasn't really meant for reaching out to other people, but the older I got, I guess, it started to have such an effect. I would basically be glued to that screen. I mean, just the idea of being able to connect to other people that were not only not close to me, but also just in some sort of vicinity that I was in. Some people were all over the world. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So would you say you were addicted to your phone?
I would say yes, but it was
that's
more
an
of the
understatement.
Yeah, that was kind of an understatement. I actually grew up Pentecostal, so we didn't have. I actually didn't get a phone till about maybe 15 or 16.
Wow.
That's a good age.
Yeah, now it's at like 4.
Right.
But yeah, it's different. Now, being non-visual, I don't have such a connection. I have that feeling, the want, the need to reach out and connect in many different ways. It is not as critical as it used to be, because I used to be, heavily visual. So all the sites that you could see, on social media was available for me. Now I don't, I'm not trapped by the screen anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
That is a heavy one.
Trapped. That's one
Yes.
way to describe it.
So I can actually just, if my phone didn't talk, I would almost lose it every time because I've gotten so detached from it. Now, I do use social media all the time. I'm always on Instagram, posting videos of things that I'm doing, just
You
living
kind
a
of
blind
vlog.
life.
Yeah.
I do.
I think you're a vlogger.
I mean, you could say that at this point. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's great.
So, how do you actually connect on social media? Because there's so many people out here. How do you actually connect?
So funny thing is, I have an incredible memory,
Okay.
and a lot of people's names I just remembered. No matter how, I mean, even from foster care days, like I remember their names, and I could just type them up, and just I would find them. Sometimes it'd be multiple profiles, so you got to do a little more work than than the average person. You can't just look at a picture,
Right.
and know that that's the person. You have to know that person, and a little more difficult, a little more challenging, but it's it keeps me in tune on certain levels. Like I don't get the posts with the messiness and stuff like that. I don't get that.
That's good.
That is beautiful. I don't get to see that. So most people have memes or videos, and I can only intake videos that have usable sound, i.e., if it's just a song playing, I'm not watching the video per se. I'm just listening to the song that's playing. It actually does not get the same effect. If there's a lot of commentary, I can understand it. If there's a lot of sound effects, it makes more sense to me. But everything is an audio thing now.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I love that you're allowing us to see into how you are able to navigate the social media and just technology in general. We live in a world that is constantly changing, especially with the technology is constantly advancing every day. We have robots now that can do our dishes. We have the
goodness.
cars, lots of different things. But what is your favorite part of social media? Or your favorite aspect?
Okay, maybe cliche, but I love going live. It's something about right then and there, because some of the greatest things that I say, do, or experience never gets told or never gets recorded. So I've had $1 million ideas that just go to the mental graveyard, if you will.
That's deep.
So it's just like sometimes telling my story, just a little 30-second video, like, hey, you know who it is, Mr. Live Lodge in charge, and I do my spiel, and it's great.
Yeah.
And my friends watch me. They're like, oh man, everything you do is crazy, and I'm like, share it.
How many friends do you have, Sean? You're a college student, right?
Yes, I am. I can't actually give you a realistic number.
I've been out in public with him many times, and he doesn't know this person, but he stops and has a full-on conversation, introduces himself, and just he picks up people everywhere he goes. So I think
Wow.
you are a magnet, and we need more people with your kind of energy. And I love that
Yeah.
Yeah, that's contagious.
very, very much.
Sometimes people say they know me, and I'm like, depending on the name you call me, like I have to know that you know me. And it's, I have different names for different places that I've been, or different levels of life that I was in that moment. So depending on the name you call me, I know I'm like, oh, I don't even need to talk to you. And I'm like, who are you? New phone, who this?
And we do plan to have you on in the next few months to share your story, Sean's story.
Oh, that's a doozy right there.
Yeah, so make sure you guys tune in for that. It's going to be
Yeah.
fabulous. And also, Sean, what is one pro and one con to social media in your less visual life?
A pro is the ability to, I guess you would call it, get the attention.
Get the attention.
Because I don't see, I have this need for people to see me. And I guess that might be the Leo within as well. So it gives me that platform to not only get my thoughts across, but also to let my friends and family that are so far away from me, they can still have that connection with me and see that I'm doing okay. Most of them know me from a sighted person. So when they see, the blind version of me going across the world, going across the country, doing all these different things. They're like, go boy, go. And I think for me, the con for me is the lack of understanding of trends at that moment. Because number one, if it's a dance trend, I can't see it, so I don't pick that up. If there's memes that are just like spoken words, sometimes my phone doesn't read that, so I don't get that. If it's just a picture, sometimes my phone won't describe it. So I get a lack of information, but I also get a lack of confrontation and conflict because of my lack of visual.
Is that why you mentioned earlier you don't see the mess on social media? So, okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
when somebody's having a family dispute or something like that, I might hear about it from other people, but I didn't see it.
To see it,
You know?
it's just like disappointing when we take that kind of stuff to social media. And that's the thing about social media and technology. What we put out into the internet is staying there.
Right.
And it's literally impossible to remove it. So we really need to be more mindful about how radical we may get when the emotions come up. And that's what happens when people get online, just like, I'm just finna blow it up. And there are other avenues we can take to resolve issues, and some family feuds cannot be resolved, and we need to be okay with that.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. Most definitely. Well, I really love your story on how you navigate on social media, because I've spoke about it in the last episode, like my struggles with social media, and I'm really inspired by the moment you said you love to go live. Like, that is a fear and an anxiety that I struggle with. And I really would love some pointers on how to actually get out there and, put my story out there.
Yeah, we need that.
I will say for me, there's only one downside to that.
What is that?
I never know what's around me. So when I go live, it's just spur of the moment. Whatever's in the background, is there.
It's just there. That's the thing, and we plan to go live tomorrow, so make sure, the live will be up by the time this is released. So we want to get some pointers on how do we take over our page, claim dominance, and really just set the tone, especially with the lives. Because like she said, there's this fear of performing and just being seen and not being able to say the right things at the right time.
But see, so I learned this in public speaking. The best speakers don't sound perfect. To be perfect makes you sound robotic.
That's a gem.
But to actually make a mistake lets people know that you're human, that
Right.
you are faulted, that you can make a mistake and then recover from it. It lets you know
I needed that.
that you are real.
I needed that.
It's
Yeah.
It's the authenticism that attracts people about it. When I go live, they know that is all my energy. When you see my video, that's like, yeah, he's gonna do that regardless. It's not scripted. You just be yourself. That you that's in your living room, nobody else is at home, you got the jams blasting, that you is, boom, that's primetime you.
It's golden.
It's
Yeah.
you just gotta be that. You gotta have that will to snap into that. And it took me a while to get there. I used to be very, very shy. Stage fright, everything. Like, I still have my moments and I perform all the time. But before I go onto a stage, my stomach locks up. And I'm just like, and I get the shakes and I'm like, but on the inside, I'm like, yeah, I need that. Like that gives me that energy. And I'm like, I fight out of that. So when you go live, you give it that fire, you give it that energy, and you got to make it believable. When I talk, I give it that energy,
Yes.
So when you hear me come on there, when I say yo, 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 you know who it is. Mr. Live, Large and in Charge. you know
Hey, I live.
where it's coming from.
Yeah, I live.
Oh,
Yeah, your energy is contagious.
So, Sean, I want to ask, what have you seen in the people around you that you can link to social media, either your pros or your cons?
I've seen some of my best friends go through levels of depression, and it saddens me. And I know it's because they're stuck to that screen. You know?
Wow.
And I don't necessarily know how to help them in that moment, except for telling them like the positive stuff that they need to hear. You know, the stuff that like when you look at that screen, you're looking at something that's not really real at all times. You know, everybody puts on filters, you know, to make themselves look better than they are. Or they, you know, they doll themselves up and they doll their videos up, but you're not getting the real. So you're living your life stuck to a screen looking at something that is not real. You know, so then
Sounds like some sort of hypnosis.
it you could say
It
that
could be.
it could be.
That's very strange because we get on social media to look for inspiration or just to like come out of our reality. Although you just stated that none of this stuff isn't real most of the time. So why do we strive for perfection in other places? And maybe I'm not forming that right, but there's this thing that we're always running towards is perfection and we can
Yeah.
never get it. And we go to social media for perfection just to like hop in this hole because we cannot reach perfection.
Yeah.
I think it's attention also. I mean, most people are on social media, not just for perfection or displaying perfection, but attention as well. And a lot of people, they go there. And as you stated, filters, like they've
Yeah.
taken over just the visual of seeing someone when they first wake up in the morning. You know, people are still using filters, and everybody knows that, you know, you don't look your best when you wake up, but people still use it, and it just covers who you authentically are. And so I love the point that you made that people are battling with depression and stress and anxiety based on what they're seeing on the screen, this barrier, and they're having to perform or either be perfect.
Yeah, which is just invariably not going to happen.
Right. Like, for instance, right now, it's Valentine's Day. People that are looking on are seeing memes of, you know, people bringing big bushels of roses and they're going all out. Now, these things are sometimes real, but sometimes they're scripted just to get views. That's the whole, you know, the name of the game is the algorithm. Control the algorithm. You know, you can control the world theoretically.
Right?
That's where the money is, yeah.
Right. So right now you're seeing, you know, people doing what I would call Disney character, you know, Disney princess type stuff. You know, they're in the horse and carriage life right now, you know, and it's, you know, it's cool. But then when we intake that, then we're trying to compare ourselves to something that is not even in our lane. You know,
Ooh, that was
deep.
good. Not in our lane. Yeah, that's some of the observations and thoughts that have just come from my side of it. There's increased insecurity and body dysmorphia because of just all these different things that are being portrayed as real, but they're simply not real. And not to throw any shade whatsoever, but the Kardashians, they have driven the way girls are growing up and the filters becoming a thing. And a lot of it's just is faux. F-A-U-X. It's just faux. And we need more realistic portrayals of what, you know, the love day is like, or just what the different shapes and bodies. We just need to get out of this space of having one mold.
right.
And we're not all going to fit this mold. And that is probably one of the main factors in leading depression and even suicide at the highest extent.
Right.
You know, we plan to talk about bullying as well. later on this year. I've been bullied, and a lot of people have been bullied. There was even today, I was shared the topic of a young boy in Bartlesville or something like that. He ended up committing suicide because he was bullied. So we really have to acknowledge that. But because we are now in a technology-driven society, it is now cyberbullying, which is even more dangerous because that allows people to lose more integrity than they would face-to-face because we have this barrier. Oh, they're not going to see me. They're not going to hear me. And those who are receiving the backlash are really internalizing these things.
Yeah.
And then they go into a hole and they start believing these things. And then with others watching, there's more pressure. It's just too much. So from your point of view, what do you think would be some things to alleviate the stress and depression, or just some ways to mitigate the negative effects of social media?
So, sometimes you just got to put that thing away, man. You got to put
that's
that
hard.
phone. It's so hard.
That's hard for some people.
It is, but the more we look at it, the more it entraps us. It's like
Talk about it.
It's like ivy.
Ivy.
It's like ivy. It just grows, and if you don't cut it and weed it out, it's gonna keep growing and stronger until it overtakes whatever it's wrapped in. So for sometimes you gotta take a break.
Yeah. Detox.
I've seen one of my, this guy is so strong-minded. I literally took a break from social media, and I was only worried about him before, because it was just that bad. Like he was just losing it. And I sit back and I watch some of my friends' stories, some of their notes, and they say some pretty unhinged stuff, and it makes me worry. I'm guilty of doing the same thing. Sometimes I just have a thought and I let it out, not really thinking about anything else, just getting it out. So, yeah.
But you don't have to feel guilty for releasing the emotions. And that's human of us, but maybe you can give me more insights on why you even felt guilty for expressing yourself.
Because it seems like I'm waiting for the reactionary. I'm needing that attention in that moment that I'm not getting face to face. So I have a bigger group, a bigger viewer source. I can say, R.I.P. Little Juju. And if anybody ever knew Little Juju, they'll chime in. Or if they just know me, they'll chime in. Hey, we're feeling for you, this and that. Sometimes that is what we're aiming for. And sometimes we need not to. Sometimes we need to be comfortable in our own self in that moment of our deepest needs. We don't need to go to that phone and, get these digital condolences, or digital hugs is what I call them.
Digital hugs.
Yeah.
I think what the digital hugs, when you were saying that, what I thought of was just like that really quick dopamine. And that's what we get, these constant dopamine hits. And that's why a lot of us are stuck to the screen. We're constantly being stimulated, and which is becoming unhealthy. And that's why I stated in our previous episode, again, if you haven't watched or heard it, go listen to it, go watch it. Part 1 with Jadu Williams. So again, I just wanted to reiterate that we need to mitigate the negative effects by either setting timers, and there are certain spaces in the house where you can use the phone. Personally, in my life, what helps me detox from screen time, we're surrounded by screens 24 hours a day. Your phone is going off, your computer, your alarm, the TV. We're just always looking for this visual stimulation. And it can be just sound as well. There's just so much going on in our world. So I have a puzzle on the table, and that helps me to just calm down.
And detach.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm rushed, and that really helps me come down to a regular life pace. if you get what I'm saying. The phone doesn't allow you to feel that way, at least.
No.
And with just our culture and lifestyle here in America, we're in a rush. And it's
Always.
hard to just grab onto something and sit down and be mellow. We're just like this, how much more attention can I get? And this and that. It's just too much.
Instant gratification.
Yes, that's our issue. We're instantly gratified to our detriment.
Yeah.
But we still have enough control on this.
Yeah, we do.
So we have to, guys, listen, watch. We have to use the tools because this will eventually take over and then our world is over. We are in control. Take control.
We need to.
And lastly, before we close this out, Miss Tiffany, can you share your experience, your break off of social media? You took off of the digital world for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I personally started taking breaks from social media when I was in my early teens. It was probably 2018. And I was in middle school and I just felt overwhelmed with what was going on. There was the filters. There was drama. There was, insecurity coming up. And you're just like, I have to leave this. And I think people just have to get to a breaking point. And hopefully that isn't suicide, but you need something to really push you off of this, get that bad taste in your mouth. But yeah, I would like to hear you share your experience.
Being off social media has been helpful. Also, I was able to be more mindful, spend more time focusing on pretty much things that I won't say ignoring, but spend more quality time focusing on the relationships that were actually in my life. And social media is still a problem. I mean, because I recently got back on social media, activated my pages and things, but I still felt like this rush of, it was just so much trying to play catch up, and it never ends.
Overstimulated immediately.
Yeah, and it just brings on a lot of depression, anxiety, stress, and as we talked about, the filters, wanting to be perfect in other people's eyes. And then it's just like we're in a content making world right now, and this is all, you're thinking about, how can I make content? But we're in this space now, it's hard to think.
It's hard to think.
Yeah.
And that's the basic. If you can't think, there's an issue.
Yeah, because you're always trying to keep up with somebody else's creation instead of being authentic and creating your own. And so it's hard, but I went off like 8 months, and it was peaceful, to be honest. It was peaceful. I worked on the relationships that I had. I took on new hobbies. I just had time to focus on things that I normally wouldn't focus on, being off of social media. And so, to me, it was a blessing. I mean, it may not be for everyone, but it worked for me, and I came back. I'm able to focus more and be more intentional when I'm actually online now. So, I wish everybody would learn to take a detox.
Right. We would all be okay in the world. We could actually look at each other and love each other, not for our internet personas, but who we are.
I honestly, I'm in so many group chats that for me, I just mute them. And I never tell anybody that I muted it.
Are you telling them today?
Exposed.
Yeah, just never tell. I'll be like, They'll be like, did you see that?
I'm too busy.
I didn't even get that. I must have missed the notification.
I'm saying just overstimulated.
Yeah. Group chats is a lot. So you really got to set things up that are going to be balanced for our own mental health, because only we can take care of ourselves.
Right.
Thank you so much, Mr. BMC, for coming on and
No problem.
letting us pick your brain about the effects of social media. It's a great thing, and it can definitely be a bad thing. But we definitely appreciate you making time on your Valentine's Day to come and record with us.
Most
Do you have any
definitely.
last words for our viewers and listeners?
Stay mindful. Know that what you say, whether it's digital or not, has an effect. And it can spread like wildfire.
Wow.
That's a gem.
That blind man can.
Thank you so much, Mr. BMC. Miss Tiffany, you got anything for us?
No, Sean said it all. But
He
could
did.
you give us a quick No, I heard that you were a singer.
Yeah, and where can they find you?
So all of my social medias are the same. BMCA underscore Stoyetsky, which is spelled STOYETSKII. And I was born by the river in a little tent. Woo,
Sam Cooke.
Oh, and just like the river, I've been running. Whoa, running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know
Woo!
a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will.
Woo!
Come on, you guys. Y'all make sure y'all tap
Awesome.
in with Mr. BMC.
Yes, tap in. That was beautiful. Sam Cooke is one of my favorite artists, so I love that.
His
Love that
go-to
song.
is really
yes,
clutch.
Sam Cooke is a legend.
Oh, my
Yes, he
God.
is.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in today. We love y'all and appreciate everything you have done for us.
Yes.
Stay blessed and stay sweet.
All right.
Sweet.